Hi, I'm Ruth Carmichael. I'm a senior marine scientist here at the Dauphin Island Sea Lab, and I'm also a professor of marine sciences at the University of South Alabama. I've been studying wastewater and how humans and the human footprint in our coastal areas affect the habitat and food resources for animals for about 20 years now. And so I want to talk to you a little bit today about our understanding of wastewater influence here off the Alabama and Mississippi coast and what it might mean for our fisheries and resources, and then also some things that we all can do to improve our water quality and protect our coastal resources. So it's estimated that more than 350 billion gallons of untreated wastewater enter our coastal waters every year. And it's also estimated that that number is going to increase by about 20% by the year 2030. So you can imagine that's a pretty big deal and something that we all really need to be thinking about in terms of protecting our coastal resources, especially in areas where we love to swim and fish. Wastewater is a serious concern to us. One of them is that it can bring potentially dangerous pathogens or microbes into the water. And this could be bacteria or viruses, the kind that make people sick, either directly or if we're eating fin fish or shellfish that have been affected by them. In addition to the microbes, there's also the potential for wastewater to bring harmful nutrients or nutrients in excess. Now, nutrients like nitrogen, for example, is really important for life. For example, if you fertilize your lawn, you're probably adding something like nitrogen or phosphorus, and that nitrogen, is important to helping the green things grow, right? It helps your grass grow. But in our estuaries, it also makes the green things grow, like phytoplankton or algae, different types of macroalgae. And this can be good as a food source for a lot of fish and shellfish, but in excess, it can actually overgrow. It causes something that's known as eutrophication. And so nutrients can be a problem, microbes can be a problem, and then there's also some other things that can be conveyed from wastewater, for example, like heavy metals and other contaminants of concern. So from the research that we've been conducting here in the waters of Mississippi and Alabama, we now know a few things. For example, we know that we can see evidence of wastewater coming from land, from wastewater facilities or other sources, and entering the water. We know we can see its influence on the phytoplankton growth in the area, and we can also see that in our local shellfish and fisheries. One of the things that we also are aware of is that our wastewater treatment alternatives, such as wastewater treatment facilities, septic systems, and other alternatives, are actually not the bad guys. They're helping us. And if they're properly maintained and properly operated, they're doing their job, which is reducing the level of microbes in particular, and those bacteria or viruses that might make us sick. They're reducing those in the water, and they're helping to protect us. So one of the most important things in working on research about wastewater is our engagement with managers, with municipal or state officials, and also members of the public, and understanding what do people want to know about wastewater and water quality and its effects on the environment, and also what do they want to have in terms of tools or resources to aid management and guide understanding. And so we designed a website called Our Wastewater Footprint, which has it's basically serves as a clearinghouse for data from our projects, but also resources so that stakeholders can get data from other agencies and institutions that hold important data on water quality, and also has some tangible sort of tips and tricks that people can do to protect water quality locally. And what can you be doing as a resident of our Gulf Coast who cares about our water quality and our coastal resources? So I want to introduce the website to you, and also just make you familiar with some of the potential sources of wastewater that include things like wastewater treatment facilities, but also runoff from roads like impervious surfaces, and even folks who are living on the water in houseboats. There's a variety of outfall pipes that we see coming into all of our coastal waters around Mobile Bay and around Mississippi. Storm drains, pump out stations, and even boats are all potential sources of wastewater. So it may be a little different than what you have assumed in the past. And so we consider all of these sources as well as wastewater treatment plants. This is just an image of the Mobile Bay watershed, and it shows you in the purple dots how many different wastewater treatment facilities exist. And these are just the wastewater treatment plants. It doesn't include septic systems, houseboats, or any of the other sources that I also showed you on the previous slide. And so this shows you how all of this water and all of these sources ultimately drain into Mobile Bay. So that has the potential to create a pretty important human impact. And so if you come to our website, you can learn about all of these sources, and you can learn about ways that we can manage them. You can learn more specifically about the human footprint, about microbes, nutrients, and other sources of pollution that are associated with wastewater. You can also learn specifically about research that we've done in Grand Bay on the Mississippi-Alabama coast and here in Mobile Bay. And we also have some information specific to Dog River, which is a tributary of Mobile Bay. And then for those of you who are interested in some fun ways to learn, you can actually come onto our Take It With You page. We have fact sheets for Grand Bay, Dog River, and Mobile Bay. And each of these comes with a game on the back of the fact sheet. And so you can actually play the game and test your knowledge of water quality issues in your community. So we encourage everyone to visit our website and provide us with feedback on how we're doing, or if there's additional information that you think should be included that isn't. We'd love to hear from you, and we hope that you'll use our resources. I also want to recognize our partners and funders and collaborators on this project, and point out our QR code if you want an easier way to find us right away.